Hi, welcome to the Grade 5 Best Practices video. In this video, we will discuss what one could see and hear while visiting classrooms during the Numerical Patterns unit. What do you notice? What do you wonder? Vocabulary such as coefficient, terms, variables should be interwoven into instruction of this benchmark. These terms are introduced in grade 5, but not expected to be mastered until grade 6. This unit on numerical patterns, there are 3 key concepts. 1, students can represent a numerical pattern in a 2-column table. 2, students can identify a rule that describes a pattern. And 3, students can write a rule that describes a pattern as an expression. What should we see happening in the classroom? When given a number pattern, students will represent a rule using manipulatives such as 1-inch tiles or draw a model in order to identify the rule as a written expression. Students will explore patterns using manipulatives to generate numerical expressions that require 1 or 2 operations. And students will also represent problems using input-output tables and a 1 or 2-step numerical equation to generate a number pattern that follows a given rule. What type of conversations should be taking place? Here are some examples from the Math Chat questions from the STEMscopes Explore lessons. Questions such as these can informally assess students' understanding on numerical patterns. Some potential answers we may hear from students are: X can change depending on the scenario and will change in order to make a rule true for a given numerical pattern. If a pattern isn't consistent with adding on or multiplying the same number, then the expression is multi-step. If the number on the right is greater than my number on the left, then I know that I must have some combination of multiplication and addition, possibly subtraction, in order to get my new number. If I know the input, I use whatever number operation the rule says. If I do not know the input, I use the opposite operation, that is the inverse of the rule. If the rule says to multiply, I divide. If the rule says to add, I subtract. This list shows some of the vocabulary words we should hear teachers and students using in this unit. This is from the STEMscopes parent letter. Throughout this unit of study, we should see multiple opportunities for students to show their understanding. This could mean students demonstrating their knowledge of numerical patterns during the Explore lesson with the exit ticket at the end, or the Show What You Know as a follow-up. These are just a few examples of formal and informal assessments that a teacher can use to gauge a student's understanding that came from the STEMscopes resources. Here are 2 example questions that teachers, administration, or parents could ask students to gauge understanding of the content. These questions are found on the benchmark pages on SmathSmarts that can be found by clicking on any of the benchmark links on the instructional guides. Here is an activity from the STEMscopes parent letter that is meant to be an engaging way that students can continue their learning at home or even to extend their learning in the classroom. One of these activities has students taking numerical patterns and writing a rule that can describe the pattern as an expression. The other activity, students are using real-world items to build a structure and then making an input-output table to show the number of structures and the number of materials needed. Just stay calm as the students make sense of the patterns and expressions. Through lots of practice with manipulatives, they will make sense of this benchmark. Thanks for listening to this unit's Best Practices.